Something just shifted, and fans can feel it. This isn't just another rap moment. This isn't just another headline. What's happening right now feels different, like the ground is moving under one of the biggest names in hip-hop. Because for years, Drake has been untouchable, chart dominance, industry respect, a machine that never slows down. But now, social media is going crazy with a narrative nobody expected, and it sounds wild, it sounds almost unbelievable. Fans are saying, his own side might not be fully behind him anymore. Meanwhile, Kendrick Lamar is being called the quiet winner once again. No loud victory lap, no constant statements, just timing and impact. And that's what has people talking. Because if you look closely at everything unfolding, statements, reactions, more subtle industry movements, some people think this isn't just about music anymore. They think this is about positioning, power, control. And here's where it gets even more intense. What if Kendrick didn't just win lyrically? What if he shifted the entire energy around Drake without even saying much? Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high, and people are divided because nothing is confirmed. But the signs are making people ask serious questions. Did Drake lose more than just a battle? Did something happen behind the scenes? And why are people suddenly saying his own label might not be moving the same way anymore? Because if that part is even slightly true, then this isn't just a rap story. This is something much bigger. The moment people started saying that Kendrick Lamar had won again, the conversation didn't just stay about music. It shifted into something much deeper. Because this time, the focus wasn't only on lyrics, diss records, or fan debates. It was about something far more unexpected, the idea that Drake might not even have full support from his own side anymore. And that's where things started to feel different. At first, it sounded like just another online rumor. Social media is saying a lot these days, and not everything sticks. But this time, fans are shocked at how fast the narrative spread. People began pointing out small details, subtle industry moves, quiet changes in tone, and moments that didn't quite add up. Some people think these were just coincidences. Others believe they were signs of something bigger happening behind the scenes. The idea that a major artist could face tension from within his own label is enough to grab anyone's attention. And while nothing is confirmed, unconfirmed reports suggest that there may be disagreements, pressure, or internal conversations that haven't been made public. Fans quickly picked up on this possibility, and once that narrative took off, it became impossible to ignore. Meanwhile, Kendrick's position in all of this looks almost untouched, calm, focused, strategic. Fans are saying this only adds to his image, that while chaos builds around him, he remains steady. Some people think that's intentional. Others argue it's just who he is as an artist. But either way, the contrast is hard to miss. Drake, on the other hand, has always been known for control. Control of his sound, his image, his releases, and his business moves. So when fans even begin to question whether that control is shifting, it creates a completely different level of tension. Because this isn't just about bars anymore, it's about power. Social media is going crazy trying to figure out what's real and what's not. Old clips are being revisited. Past label moves are being analysed. Fans are saying things like, "Why would this happen now?" and "This timing feels too perfect." Others are more skeptical, reminding everyone that speculation doesn't equal fact. And they're right. Nothing is confirmed. But that hasn't stopped the conversation from growing. Emotions ran high as more voices joined in. Influencers, commentators, and hip-hop pages all started sharing their takes. Some suggested that Kendrick's recent moves, whether direct or indirect, have put pressure not just on Drake, but on the entire system around him. Others think that's an exaggeration, that business decisions in the music industry are always complex and shouldn't be tied to rap beef alone. Still, the narrative kept building. Some fans believe that Kendrick's win isn't just about music. It's about perception, about how the public sees both artists right now. If one appears calm and in control while the other seems surrounded by questions, that alone can shape how people judge the situation. And in today's world, perception can be just as powerful as reality. At the same time, Drake hasn't publicly shown any signs of weakness. He continues to move, to release, to stay visible. But fans are analyzing everything more closely than ever. Even normal decisions are being questioned. Was that planned? Is there tension behind that? Does this mean something? That level of scrutiny creates pressure, real or perceived. And that's where this story starts to feel less like a typical rivalry and more like a layered situation with multiple sides. On one side, you have Kendrick Lamar, whose silence and precision are being interpreted as dominance. On the other, you have Drake, still active and present, but now surrounded by a narrative he didn't fully control. Some people think this is all overblown. Others believe this is the beginning of something much bigger. But one thing is clear. The moment fans started saying, "Kendrick won again," it stopped being just about the music and turned into something nobody expected. The situation didn't slow down, it intensified. What started as quiet speculation quickly turned into full-blown discussion across every corner of the internet. Social media is going crazy, and now the focus isn't just on Drake versus Kendrick Lamar anymore. It's about everything surrounding them: the industry, the business, the people behind the scenes, and that's where the first real twist begins to take shape. Fans started noticing patterns, small ones at first, but enough to raise eyebrows. Certain moves didn't feel as coordinated as usual. Certain decisions seemed off. Some people think it's just normal industry behavior being overanalyzed. Others believe it's something deeper. Unconfirmed reports suggest there could be internal disagreements or shifting priorities within Drake's circle. Nothing is confirmed, but once that idea hit social media, it spread fast. And with that, the narrative changed again. Now, people weren't just asking who had the better lyrics, they were asking bigger questions. Is Drake dealing with pressure from inside? Is everything really as solid as it looks? Why now? Those questions don't have clear answers, but they've added another layer of tension that fans can't ignore. Meanwhile, Kendrick's name continues to rise in these conversations, but not because he's saying anything directly. In fact, it's the opposite. His silence is being interpreted as confidence. Fans are saying things like, he doesn't even have to speak, everything is happening around him. Others think that's just coincidence, that people are reading too much into it. But the perception is growing, and perception matters. Emotions ran high as more creators, bloggers, and commentators started weighing in. Now, some argued that this situation proves Kendrick's influence goes beyond music, that his presence alone can shift the narrative. Others pushed back, saying it's unfair to connect unrelated industry dynamics to a rap rivalry. People are divided, and the debate is only getting louder. Then came another shift. Fans began revisiting Drake's past moments with his label and business dealings. Not as criticism, but as context. They're asking, has this ever happened before? Were there signs we missed? Old interviews, past headlines, even subtle comments are being re-examined. Social media is treating this like a puzzle, trying to connect every piece. Some people think this is exactly what makes the situation so intense. It's not just one event. It's layers of events being interpreted all at once. And when everything gets analysed at that level, even normal actions can start to look suspicious. At the same time, Drake's presence hasn't faded. He's still active, still visible, still moving like a major force in the industry. But fans are saying the energy feels different. Not weaker, just different. More watched, more questioned. And that shift alone has created a new kind of pressure. Because now every move carries meaning. If he drops music, people ask why now. If he stays quiet, people ask what it means. If he speaks, people analyze every word. That level of attention changes everything. Some fans believe Drake is fully aware of this and is choosing to move carefully, knowing that one wrong step could fuel the narrative even more. Others think he's already in control and letting the conversation play out on its own. But there's also a growing group of people who think this situation might be more complicated than either side realizes. Because if there really are internal dynamics at play, business decisions, label priorities, or unseen pressures, then this isn't just a personal battle anymore. It becomes structural, and that's where things get unpredictable. Kendrick, whether intentionally or not, appears untouched by that side of the conversation. His image remains focused, artistic, and distant from the chaos. Fans are saying that contrast is part of why he's winning in public perception. Others argue it's just timing and coincidence. Again, nothing is confirmed. But the feeling is undeniable. The more this unfolds, the more it feels like something bigger than a typical rivalry. Something layered, something complex, and something that might not be fully visible yet. Because right now, it's not just about what we can see. It's about what might be happening behind the scenes, and how that could change everything. Now the conversation has reached a point where it feels impossible to separate emotion from analysis. What started as speculation has turned into something that feels almost personal for fans watching it unfold. The discussion around Drake and Kendrick Lamar is no longer just about music or even business. It's about identity, control, and who truly holds weight in the culture right now. Social media is going crazy with breakdowns that go deeper than ever before. People aren't just reacting anymore. They're dissecting timelines, comparing patterns, and trying to understand the psychology behind every move. Fans are saying things like, "Oh, this doesn't feel accidental," and "There's no way all of this is happening at the same time for no reason." Others push back, reminding everyone that correlation doesn't equal intent. But even those voices admit, the timing is hard to ignore. Emotions ran high as more fans began to pick sides more aggressively. Supporters of Drake argue that he's being over-scrutinized, that his position in the industry is still as strong as ever, and that narratives online don't always reflect reality. They believe he's simply navigating a complex moment that would challenge any artist, no matter how big. On the other side, Kendrick supporters are saying this moment highlights the difference in approach, claiming that Kendrick's quiet, calculated presence is exactly why he appears to be in control. That word, control, keeps coming up. Asked because in situations like this, perception of control can shape everything. Some people think Kendrick has mastered that perception, that by saying less, by moving less, he creates more impact. Others believe that's just how fans interpret it, and that he's not necessarily influencing the situation as much as it seems. Nothing is confirmed, but the belief itself is powerful enough to drive the narrative forward. Meanwhile, Drake's situation feels more exposed than ever, not in terms of weakness, but in terms of visibility. Every move is seen, every decision is discussed, and every outcome is judged almost instantly. Fans are shocked at how quickly normal actions are being turned into major talking points. A delay becomes a question, a release becomes a statement, even silence becomes a headline. That level of attention creates pressure, whether intentional or not. And then there's the ongoing conversation about internal dynamics. Unconfirmed reports continue to circulate, suggesting that things behind the scenes may not be as perfectly aligned as they once appeared. Some people think there could be differences in direction, expectations, or strategy within Drake's broader circle. Others believe this is all speculation fueled by the moment. Nothing is confirmed, but the idea alone is enough to keep fans talking. Because once people start questioning stability, it changes how everything looks. Even success can feel uncertain under that kind of lens. At the same time, Kendrick's position appears untouched by those conversations. His name continues to rise, not because of constant output, but because of how the moment is framing him. Fans are saying he doesn't need to respond repeatedly. His presence alone is shaping the outcome. Others disagree, arguing that a true win requires clear, direct engagement. People are divided, and the gap between those perspectives is growing wider. What makes this moment even more intense is the psychological angle. Fans are now asking deeper questions that go beyond music or business. Who's more comfortable in pressure? Who thrives in uncertainty? Who actually benefits from this situation unfolding the way it is? These aren't simple questions and there are no clear answers, but they add another layer to an already complex situation. Because now it's not just about what's happening, it's about how each artist handles what's happening, and that's where things become unpredictable. If Drake is navigating external pressure while maintaining his position, that's one kind of strength. If Kendrick is shaping perception through silence and timing, that's another kind of strength. Both approaches can work, but only one will define how this moment is remembered. Social media continues to amplify every angle, every theory, every reaction. The conversation doesn't slow down, it evolves. New ideas replace old ones, but the intensity never fades. Because right now, this doesn't feel like a situation that's close to ending. It feels like something that's still building, something that hasn't fully revealed itself yet. And that's exactly what keeps everyone watching. Now everything feels like it's sitting on the edge of a moment that could change how this entire situation is remembered. The tension surrounding Drake and Kendrick Lamar hasn't faded, it has deepened. What once looked like speculation now feels like a turning point, even though nothing has been officially confirmed. And that uncertainty is exactly what's keeping fans locked in. Social media is going crazy, but the tone has shifted. Earlier, it was all about reactions and theories. Now it feels more like anticipation. People are waiting, watching closely, trying to catch the next move before it happens. Because everyone senses that whatever comes next could define everything. Fans are shocked at how complex this situation has become. It's no longer just about who said what or who dropped which track. It's about positioning, perception, and the bigger picture behind the scenes. Some people believe Kendrick has already secured a win, not through volume, but through timing and control. Others strongly disagree, saying the situation is still unfolding and Drake hasn't shown his full hand yet. People are divided, and that division is what keeps the energy alive. One of the most talked about ideas right now is the concept of momentum. Fans are asking, who really has it? Because momentum in hip-hop isn't just about music, it's about narrative. It's about who the culture feels is leading the moment. And right now, some people think that momentum has shifted toward Kendrick. But not everyone agrees. Drake supporters are pushing back, saying he's been in situations like this before and always finds a way to come out on top. They believe his experience, his adaptability, and his ability to stay relevant give him an edge that can't be overlooked. They argue that what looks like pressure might actually be patience. And that's where the uncertainty grows, because both sides sound convincing. At the same time, the conversation about Drake's internal situation hasn't disappeared. Unconfirmed reports continue to circulate, suggesting that things behind the scenes may not be as unified as they once seemed. Nothing is confirmed, but fans are still paying close attention to every detail, trying to read between the lines. Some people think these rumors are being exaggerated by the moment. Others believe they're clues to something real happening beneath the surface. Either way, the impact is the same. The narrative continues to evolve. Meanwhile, Kendrick's position remains steady, quiet, but powerful. And fans are saying his ability to stay out of the noise is exactly what's giving him the advantage. Others argue that silence can only go so far, and that eventually a clear move has to be made. But until that move happens, the suspense keeps building. Emotions ran high as more people began to accept that this situation might not have a quick resolution. This isn't something that ends overnight. It's unfolding in layers, and each layer adds more complexity. Every new detail, real or rumored, changes how people see the bigger picture. And that's what makes this moment feel so important, because it's not just about what's happening now. It's about what this moment will mean later. Will it be remembered as the time Kendrick shifted the narrative without saying much? Or will it be remembered as the moment Drake faced pressure and responded in a way that redefined his position? Right now, nobody knows. That's the truth. Nothing is confirmed. No final outcome. Just tension, speculation, and a growing sense that something bigger is still on the way. Social media continues to amplify everything. One post turns into a debate. One theory turns into a trending topic. Fans are locked in, refreshing, watching, waiting for clarity that hasn't come yet. Because this isn't just a moment, it's a build-up. And the longer it builds, the more powerful the release will be when it finally happens. Until then, all anyone can do is watch closely and try to understand what this really is. A shift in power, a temporary narrative, or the beginning of something that could redefine both of their legacies. And now we're at that moment where everything feels bigger than the music itself. What started as speculation has turned into one of the most talked about situations in hip-hop right now. Drake is still moving, still visible, still one of the biggest names in the world, but now surrounded by questions. Meanwhile, Kendrick Lamar remains quiet, calculated, and according to many fans, somehow still controlling the moment without saying much at all. Nothing is confirmed, but the energy? It feels real. Fans are shocked. Emotions ran high. Social media is going crazy trying to break down every detail, every move, every possible meaning behind what's happening. Some people think Kendrick already won. Others believe Drake hasn't even made his real move yet. And then there are those who think this entire situation is much deeper than we realize. So now I've got to ask you, what do you think really happened? Do you believe Drake is dealing with pressure behind the scenes? Or do you think this is all just a narrative created by the internet? And most importantly, who really has control right now? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm reading everything. And if you want more deep, real-time breakdowns like this, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what happens next. Because trust me, this story is far from over.